last chapter. That's like the first time that evolution is actually mentioned in the book. Kind of interesting.
Yep, no,
Let's see if I can find it. So I've got the last paragraph started with, it is interesting to contemplate. Have you got that? Let's check this. Let's do the last paragraph. It is interesting to contemplate a tangled bank, clothed with many plants of many kinds, with birds singing on the bushes, with various insects flitting about, and with worms crawling through the damp earth, and to reflect that these elaborately constructed forms, so different from each other and dependent upon each other, in so complex a manner, have all been produced by laws acting around us. These laws, taken in the largest sense, being growth with reproduction, inheritance, which is almost implied by reproduction, variability from the indirect and direct action of the conditions of life, and from use and disuse, a ratio of increase so high as to lead to a struggle for life, and as a consequence to natural selection entailing divergence of character and the extinction of less improved forms. Thus, from the war of nature, from famine and death, the most exalted object which we are capable of conceiving, namely the production of the higher animals, directly follows. And this is the big one. There is grandeur in this view of life, with its several powers having been originally breathed by the Creator into a few forms or into one, and that whilst this planet has gone cycling on according to the fixed law of gravity, from so simple a beginning, endless forms, most beautiful and most wonderful, have been and are being evolved. And I think, does that one have Creator in it? No, it does not. So he put Creator back in to satisfy his wife and everybody else in the Anglican Church. That's interesting. So this may not be the sixth edition.
Well, on NPR this morning, we were talking about how after he wrote the first edition, he sent a copy to one of his friends that was a bishop or an archbishop in the church, and he wrote back saying that is, I don't remember exactly what it said, but he put it as a quote in the next edition of the book, and it said something like, "It is just as a noble idea that God had put these animals on the planet and let them have some sort of control over themselves to evolve and become better animals in what they're doing without any sort of guidance, really, just as God putting more animals to fill in the gaps." And
yeah, but God didn't put anything anywhere.
No, but
that's
I'm
a
just saying
theistic approach.
I know. I'm saying like
okay. That's what the bishop said.
Yeah, and that's probably why he put it.
Yeah, that's interesting because Darwin was no theist. He was a theist going out on the Beagle, but he was not a theist 20, 30 years later, which is interesting to me that he tempered the language here, and that's what made it